And we also call them a child, which is German for shield. But believe me, we are not talking about this kind of shield. We are talking about a human shield, a child shield. Remember in the Bible where God was going to slay all the firstborn children? And he told the Israelites to slay a lamb and drain its blood and paint the blood on the sides and top of the doorways, because it would act as a shield against the goddess demon of death. And the richest family in the world is the Rothschild dynasty. Roth is German for red. So Rothschild means the red shield from the blood of the baby child of sacrifice. The red child dynasty, or the Rothschild dynasty. So now you know the real meaning behind what we call our children and our kids. So now you'll understand why the Chevron altar of sacrifice is surrounded by the shield. And it makes me sick seeing Barack Obama reading Where the Wild Things Are to the kids, because the Hollywood film and the book Where the Wild Things Are is about Beltane. I feel sorry for the kids and the blind sheeple across the world, not realizing they're watching a movie about pedophilia, sex, and sacrifice to the sun god. It's a story about a boy who leaves his family to be alone with monsters. And that's always the theme of Hollywood. Why do you think Peter Pan is with the lost boys? For the same reason Alice is lost. And for the exact same reason he's home alone. Because the Illuminati always preys upon children who are runaways or lost or from an orphanage. And that's why the sick pedophile film The Orphanage was released on the night of the Black Moon of Death. And that's why the debaucherous pedophile Guillermo del Toro also produced Pan's Labyrinth. Pan was the Greek fertility pervert god, and he was also known to the Romans as Faunus. Like when you fondle a child, Faunus plus L. And that's why he's a satyr, which comes from Saturn L. And that's why he is fondling and molesting the little girl. And the sick bastard released it on the night of the Black Moon of Death. And Hollywood made Orphan, which just happened to be released on the night of the Black Moon of Death also. And Escape to Witch Mountain is also about two orphans, which was released on the night of the Black Moon of Death. And of course Dorothy was an orphan living with Uncle Henry and Auntie Em. And it was released on the night of the Black Moon of Death in 1939. And who could forget the red-cap, red-haired little orphan Annie, which ran from 1924 until the night of the Black Moon in 2010. And the wizard Harry Potter is also an orphan. And that's why they released the first film on the night of the Black Moon of Death. And the Philosopher's Stone is known as the Sorcerer's Stone, or alchemy, changing lead into gold. Because lead is the element of Saturn, the shapeshifter, the trickster. So now you'll understand why in the Matrix that Neo was able to withstand bullets, because bullets are made of lead, and that's why Black Saturn controls the lead bullets. And Max, in Where the Wild Things Are, becomes an orphan, and his name is Max because the week before Beltane is known as the Grand Climax. Just ask yourself, would you leave your children alone with these big, horny monsters? Why do you think Ira tells him I'm the one who puts holes in trees?
I'm Ira. I put the holes in the trees. I'm Ira. I put the holes in the trees.
And I'll give you one guess why he's got a big, red, throbbing nose that he uses to put holes in trees. And that's why they show him humping the trees. And everyone knows what that hole represents. That's called a glory hole. And Hollywood always uses the glory hole. So I guess having a big nose and being a liar and a pervert all goes together.
Together and we'll all sleep together in a real pile.
Together and we'll all sleep together in a real pile.
I'll meet you up, I love you so.
What's your first order of business?
It's the Wild Rumpus Star!
It's the Wild Rumpus Star!
Let the Wild Rumpus start! So this was them in the Wild Rumpus.
I can't believe that people don't realize that wild rumpus means rump ass, as in the buttocks of an animal. And that's why President Obama is howling, because he knows exactly what it means to ride the rumpus.
You are now the king, and you will be a truly great king.
You are now the king, and you will be a truly great king.
The ancient pagan ritual of mock crowning the boy king, who is the fool for a day, the willing sacrifice, the chosen one, the golden child, the sacred honor of the anointed one. Why do you think you have to get on your knees to be anointed? To be anointed means to be sanctified with the consecrated oil, or an other fluid or liquid substance like milk. And that's why an anointing is called a creme, which is cream or milk. And a consecration means to seal the deal, like when you get married, you have a consecration. Con means to fool, and secretion comes from secretion, which is releasing, oozing fluid. The sacred sacrifice fool. Because the chosen one, or the anointed one, was the one to be sacrificed to the gods. And that's why Jesus was known as the anointed one, that was sacrificed upon the cross. And just like drinking the blood and eating the flesh of Jesus, we consume the flesh from the bull god, the Angus bull, Saturn L. And that's why we also consume the milk from the sacred goddess cow, or the Angus bull, because that's where we get the word anointing. And that's why Max is the perfect height. And that's why you get on your knees to be anointed or knighted with the sword, which is a phallic symbol, and the chalice is a female symbol. And that's why when you dip the sword in, it's a sexual act. And notice everything is in reverse. He's wearing a skirt, which is a female garment, and she's carrying the sword, which is a male phallic symbol. And a judge dresses the opposite with the wig and the dress. What do you think the truth is behind the real story of the sword and the stone? The sword represents the phallic penis, and the anvil represents the anus, or the anus. Because a young virgin boy would have a tight anus or a tight ass. And the anvil is made to receive a pounding or a hammering. And if you notice, it looks exactly like an altar of sacrifice. And once again, we're talking about a little kid being left alone with old man Father Time, Saturn L. And notice he has his owl, the symbol of wisdom and of sacrifice. And that's why it's called an owl. And would you guess, he just happens to be an orphan. And that's why he's gonna anoint the fool boy who thinks he's gonna be a king for the day. And notice the clothes that don't fit exactly like Max's clothes. And I'll give you one guess what that big red dragon represents. So now you know why Disney has Merlin the trickster out there asking kids if they want to hold his bone. And Merlin lives his life backwards in time. Saturn L, Father Time. So now you'll know the truth behind Obama, and yes, we can. First I'll play it forwards, then I'll play it backwards.
Yes, we can to opportunity and prosperity. Yes, we can heal this nation.